And here we are with another episode of Fourth and Neat. I think this is episode 6, 5, Jared?
You know what, Fred? When you're having fun, you don't count.
Yeah, I think...
So I quit counting after 1. I just quit counting. When we get to something significant, like 50, you know what? Without being booted off the interwebs,
Not yet.
then we will. I'll celebrate. But you know what? To be honest, the fact that we made it past 5 is actually pretty impressive.
Well, our Mullet episode drew a lot of outside viewers, and a lot of people were disappointed they didn't win the Mullet of the year.
It happens.
And then some of them were like, "Yeah, that was the right mullet that won." So,
so you
curious. What do you normally do when when controversy hits the mullet world?
I don't deal with it. This is why I don't read comments. I don't get down that rabbit hole. I go on social media only when I have to. And then I just generally don't really care what other people think that much. So there's that.
That's a blessing, my friend.
Yeah, it is. And the reality is everybody's got an opinion, and I get it. Everything's are subjective. And when you got money on the line, right? People get intense, but we all play underneath. They all sign up underneath the same rules, same conditions, right? No favoritism, and we've shifted from a world where everybody gets the participation rip. I don't believe in that. I'm old school. We're gonna have winners and we're gonna have losers.
Speaking of old school, you were breaking out the felt hat. So
yeah, it is officially fall, even though it's still in the it's like upper 70s here today in Nashville, but it is October, so I can officially wear my felt hats without any pushback from the Cowboy community.
Yeah, the judgment. Yeah,
it's like, and I judge the other way, right? Like when I see a guy wearing a felt hat in the summer, I'm like, yeah, you're tough. I get it, but we all know we should be wearing our straw hats right now.
Yeah,
we know that.
Tell you what, there's not a more judgmental community than the Cowboy community.
Really? I think we're the least judgmental.
Oh, man, no. Look, when I had my cup of coffee there, I remember getting judged for, how I starched my pants, what boots I wore.
In Oklahoma?
The belt buckle, all that. So
okay, because I was going to say that, well, here's what we're looking for. We're looking for posers, right? So it's okay if you're celebrating it and everybody knows, like, hey, I'm trying to embrace Western culture. Like, even though I was born into it with my dad, I still had to learn it. Right? To be authentic, you have to learn it and know it. And so, we are very respectful of those who come in genuinely and want to respect. What drives me nuts, this is why I was at Oklahoma, right? Because Nashville, there's not a true cowboy downtown Nashville anywhere, right? You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
A lot of boots, though.
A lot of boots, a lot of hats. And it drives me nuts. I go to the airport and I see these idiots wearing their cowboy hats backwards. Let me just tell you, everybody, the wide end is not the front end. So if you're wearing your hat like this, you look like an idiot. I'm telling you that right now. You're an idiot.
And
that's how it goes. I did see an old man wearing it that way the other day. By the other day, like a few weeks ago, a month ago or something like that. I didn't have the heart to tell him. He was wearing it with such confidence. I let it ride. I was like, you know what, sir? We also respect our elders. So I let that one ride.
By the way, there was a enormous change in fashion in my time in the Cowboy space when Garth Brooks made it big because his hat was so different than everyone else's.
Yeah.
And that was the old school Cowboys were like, he ain't real. And
so your hat is there's a lot that you can tell from a guy's hat, right? Like you can tell if it's authentic, if you bought it, because now don't get me wrong, like this is my everyday felt. Like it's beat in, damaged. I've reshaped it a bunch of times. It's not even shaped. I have my dress hats and my dress boots. I'll be honest though, when I wear my dress hat and dress boots, like especially if I go to dinner with Amy, when I go to dinner, and I'm downtown Nashville or somewhere, wherever we're at, I'm like, ooh, people think I'm a poser, because everybody else is doing the same thing. But my dad had his show hats, his show boots, his show chaps, and then he had his everyday, his show jeans that were starched, creased perfectly. Obviously I told you I was just up at JD Yates and them, and we went and picked up their dry cleaning, and my goodness, the dry cleaning that those guys have, because everything is creased and starched. You know, every day is tucked in. See, I break a little bit of. I'm not a big tuck in shirt guy. I'm a front tuck. I front tuck. You can see my buckle, right? But I don't do the everyday fully tucked in unless I'm going to church. It's so. I'm a front tuck guy. I've always kind of bucked that cowboy system. That's been something my dad's been on me. Tuck in your shirt. I'm like,
well, so one of the things that the cowboy life definitely gave you was toughness, right?
oh,
And I feel like I still feel that. Like, I mean, I was look, I grew up in it, and it just was like just what it was. But the other day, I kind of felt like I kind of felt like I needed to check in my man card. I've been a little hesitant to even talk to you about this, but it could have been a big deal. But I developed an infection in my finger, and I think it was from like rolling or something, and it looked like a hangnail or whatever, and my finger got like swollen and everything.
yeah.
It was real nasty. I was like, I'm about to go to the doctor for my freaking finger, like a hangnail. And as it turns out, I had to get drained and I had to get on
Yeah.
antibiotics and all kinds of stuff.
Staph is nasty. Listen, I don't do infection. I've gotten infections from toughing it out. So what I would have done first is just soak my finger in a hot boiling pot of Epsom salt water.
Yeah.
Always a start, right? But no, you gotta be careful. I mean, I've had blisters turn into blood poison where you have the line going down your upper skin, and it'll be okay. Rub some dirt on it. So I actually take like skin things. I think I'm weird about that. Pretty serious. I'm like cleaning it up, rubbing alcohol peroxide the crap out of it.
Yeah, when you were in the league, MRSA was starting to get introduced into locker
Yes,
rooms.
I actually had a friend of mine. And won't mention names because I don't know where they're at with all the settlements and stuff. But I think it's long past and they settled. But one of the clubs, he got MRSA so bad he had a PICC line to his heart for like a month.
Shit.
Dude, yeah, it was crazy. They ended up, they had to sanitize the whole facilities and all this stuff. And come to find out, it came in from another team who someone had MRSA. They didn't know about it, and dude, it spreads.
Wow.
Oh, which, dude, talk about, brings you right into, have you heard about, like, I think it's in Maine. Was it up in Maine? There's some pretty like flesh eating bacteria right now is pretty insane. And there's a new bacteria that some of these people are getting, like it's mainly contained in the hospital. I actually sent it to my doc. Let me pull it up. Because there was an antibiotic resistant strain of bacteria because, everybody knows that everybody freaking just overprescribes every antibiotic known to man. And I literally sent this to my doc because there's a rise in this, dangerous spike and superbug infectious surge across the U.S. experts share. And it's like a crazy flesh-eating bacteria.
Well, also, there's been more recalls on the radioactive shrimp.
More recall? Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yes. Right on. Hey, and our guest showed up right on time.
Yes,
right
he
on
did.
Cue with radioactive shrimp comment. We're in. Welcome to our show, bud.
All I heard was flesh-eating bug, and I'm like, what in the world is I?
Yeah. You're not. We're probably let's just jump right into it. Eric, do you believe in aliens?
Aliens? I'm gonna say no, so they don't come my way. Yes. Because if I say yes, and then all of a sudden that thing's knocking at my door, then we're gonna have issues.
I love it.
Oh yeah. So
well, that's our special guest today on Fourth and Neat is Eric LeGrand. How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
Doing well, guys. I appreciate you having me on today.
Oh, thanks for being here. Absolutely. Yeah, you came in on the segment where we usually like to talk about what weird superbug or just weird things spreading around the world. We get down into our conspiracy corner, or I like to call it conspiracy court, because I want to be convinced about certain things. You know what I mean? Or let's have a dialogue and see who can get weirder. And then but so back on. Let me finish this up. So yeah, it's called NDM-CRE. It's a bacteria called, goodness, I can't even read that. Carbamidin. It doesn't matter. It's resistant. Anyways, it's like a super MRSA, basically. Yeah. I mean, I read that. NDM refers to the enzyme called I don't know. There's a whole bunch of acronyms going around on this thing, but the long and short of it was there's been some seriously high infectious rates of this bacteria. And I'm not cool with it.
Where is this infection rate coming from? What state?
This has been, oh yeah, you're up north. So hold on. Was this? I think it was in Maine.
All right, I'm not that far north. I'm in Jersey.
Okay, hold on. Where was this at? I'll say human drug use and drug control, CDC, bacteria. Okay. I know it's been. I'll read what my doctor said. A lot of it's been in hospital. So there's been 12,700 infections, 1,100 deaths in the U.S.
Holy cow!
The current spike in the number of surgery even higher. NDM-CRE infections. Oh, but see, this can get into anywhere. It can be a urinary tract infection, pneumonia, bloodstream infection, wound infection. They've increased more by 460% between 2019 and 2023. I'm cliff noting this, so all the doctors are in there like just killing me on the Yelp review right now. You're not giving accurate information. I'm cliff noting an article, people. Not my fault. Bacteria spreading. Yeah. So there's a very concerned trend with the high risk. If you're a high risk person, it can be really scary. I take that back. It does not saying exactly what medical center, what state. I think it's just kind of a nationwide deal.
So the Attorney General
I think one of the doctors
Maine is going to be calling you now, Jared.
Was from a Maine. No, I know Dr. Siegel. He's like, I think he's up in the New York area. But anyways, real concern, So I text my doctor, and she said, yes, this is almost identical to what they said in early 2000s about MRSA, MRSA, right? That's what we were just talking about, the MRSA infection. Scary, but mostly in hospitals, and mostly it's the super sick people that get exposed to these big germs. But still, it's a real issue. Don't get super sick. Just saying, you get super sick, you ain't coming back from these hospitals anymore. But there you go, Fred. I think I beat you to the punch on the weird bacteria that are spreading.
You did. On the conspiracy corner, there's one we were talking about cowboy hats earlier and brought up Garth Brooks. Have you heard the conspiracy about Garth Brooks being a suspected serial killer?
Oh, come on. Garth Brooks is like my all-time favorite country singer.
He's amazing.
No.
But like, everywhere he toured for like a strip of time, there was somebody end up murdered or missing.
What? You're an Oklahoma boy. You know the insights. You know these things.
See, I just got done watching that Ed Gein show. I'm good on all these serial killers after that.
Dude, speaking of serial killers,
that show was insane.
Dude, have you guys heard about the Smiley Face Killing Club or whatever?
Ooh, no, I don't know about that.
Oh my gosh! They've been pulling bodies out of the bayou down in Houston or whatever, right? And they're saying they're trying to contribute to, supposedly the theory behind this is there's like a group of serial killers that have band together to create this gang, like they call them the Smiley Face Gang or whatever. And they think they're responsible for like over 700 murders across the United States. And a lot of it is in college towns where they're going and killing these young frat boys and drugging them or whatever and dumping them in the water. So now Houston police are saying it has, there's female from ages from 23 to like 65, female and male. So they don't think it's it. But there's a detective who, trying to bring to light the Smiley Face Killer Gang or whatever. I'm just saying there's just some weird things going on out there right now. And I'm like you. Maybe don't mention them out loud and they won't show up on your doorstep.
If I don't mention them out loud, they will show up.
Well,
so Garth Brooks.
Yeah. It's
clearly there was no evidence to back this.
No, of course, but it's like one of those coincidental things, and it's like
Simpsons. It goes all the way back to the Simpsons.
Yeah,
Eric, you familiar with the Simpsons?
I'm a '90s boy, so I was born in the
'90s. And how they've predicted like 35 futuristic things.
Yeah, that whole thing is insane. How they were able to. I don't understand how all this stuff comes together. How you could make these predictions of craziness that happens in this world, but some people do that. That's all the way back to Notre Dame and all that.
Yes, time travel. So now it's just the thing is it's crazy. I don't know what's going on, Fred, but it's just there's way too much going on. You know what I mean? So you got Garth Brooks, you got serial killing, you got if the Simpsons would have predicted Garth Brooks would have been a serial killer.
And
again, huge Garth fan. I believe none of this.
They may have deleted that episode. Who knows? But
Garth is powerful enough to get that done. Probably. I'll never buy that. I'm sorry. That's one I'm gonna have to see some. I'm gonna have to
But
see
you're
whoever
going to need
started
some
that.
evidence, right?
Whoever started that, I'm gonna need some evidence. I'm gonna need full proof.
Best
Garth
show I
is,
ever saw was Garth Brooks in Vegas.
dude. So he played in Kansas City. I went, and I think it sold out. I think he did 8 straight shows. I went to like 5 of them. And one of my biggest regrets, I had a chance to meet. Never met Garth Brooks. I've met most country singers that I love. I had a chance to, he was doing a meet and greet, all that stuff. I wanted one of the radio station guys, and so we're in the building. It's a sound check. We had a thing to sound check, and sound check was basically the concert just for all the workers at the Sprint, Sprint Stadium, Sprint Arena in Kansas City. And then he was I had a chance to meet him, but I had to run to catch a flight. I should have missed my flight. That's one of my biggest regrets. I should have missed a flight to see him. And I'm standing here, so clearly I wasn't serial killed, so that's a good thing. And yeah, but
I'm new to this country world. I'm actually past year and a half, so I've been to now 4 or 5 country concerts. I haven't been to Garth Brooks, but it's all the newer generation.
Eric, you're new to the country.
Yeah, I'm
world?
new. I just got in. My first country concert was at the Prudential Center here in Newark, New Jersey, and I saw
Nice.
Zach Bryan there, and now he's obviously blown up. And then I've been to Luke Combs, oh my God, put on the show, Morgan Wallen. So all the
Yeah.
Oh, you've been to Morgan's concert? I haven't been to Morgan's
he was-
concert yet.
Man, he's dropping all the A-listers, Jared.
I
those
know.
are
I'm
the
like
ones I've
sitting over
been
here.
to.
Like,
When they come to MetLife or New Jersey, if it's in New Jersey, I'll be there.
okay, I love it. You know what? So now, do you have a cowboy hat yet?
I have not gotten a cowboy hat yet. I got to get that.
Eric, I'm going to get you your first cowboy hat.
Okay.
And how about some boots? You got boots yet? Fred, we're going to take care of our guy.
Let's get him.
That's going to be, I think that'll be our deal. We're going to start getting people cowboy hats and boots to come on our show.
Oh,
I'm going to reach out to Ariat and get them to try to sponsor the show. We're going to get you some cowboy hat
I
and
went,
boots.
I
Take
went to
care.
Morgan
Done and
Wallen's concert. It's a black Timbs. That's
done. He was probably wearing
black
Tim's.
I wore black
You know what I mean?
Timbs. I was cracking up. People were dying laughing at me.
Oh, no.
now,
You know what, though?
do you sneak in your own bourbon or do you drink the concession
So
stuff?
we actually are in MetLife Stadium, so I don't got any issues there. I just order what I
Man,
Yes.
you're
Look at you. Look at
man,
you.
Jared. He's crushing it. If he's getting served there and he's the official bourbon of Rutgers.
I know.
Holy cow.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was mad at a certain company. I'm not going to mention names right now because I missed out on some stadium deals because I'm having a little delay in some in the glass world, so to speak.
The glass world, oh yeah, that's a whole issue too when it goes to bottom line. I mean, my business partner handles a lot of logistics, but I see the emails that come in and that dealing with all
The spirits world is a logistical nightmare.
it's insane.
Yeah.
I said I let him handle most of that stuff because he's the veteran in it. But he shows me the emails. I'm like, how the hell are these people operating their businesses and you can't get the glass, can't get the labels, can't get the corks, like everything's come from all.
Well, and nobody wants to talk about this right now because so we are actually and we're changing our labels a little bit because depending on what you change on the label, your AB, you can change your proof a little bit, but if then your ABV or certain things happen, right? So, we had our Hall of Fame run that we made, and then we're changing for that we were never going to sell to the public. So then we have our first batch that we're blending and ready to go. Like we're still waiting on this, the rest of our glass to get here. But so we're switching our colas up a little bit, and the government shut down now. Normally I can get my colas in a matter of a couple of days, a week max, right? Government shut down, can't even get that. So it's just and then Fred and I were talking. Fred knows probably better than anybody. So do you, Eric. I should be listening to you guys, but it's crazy the difference just between the beer and wine versus the spirits world, right? The amount of red tape the spirits world has versus beer and wine is crazy. Just trying to based, and it's not even so based on where you're shipping it. It's who's receiving it. So there's this whole receiving, logistical nightmare you got to go through just to make sure the right state's receiving it at the right facility in the right place.
Yeah, and every state is
every
state is different. There's their different rules, bylaws.
Everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar.
Oh yeah, in New Jersey we got that 3-tier system too, so everyone has to eat.
Yeah, but so we have nationwide there, and then but you guys actually New Jersey, and so like MHW operates out of New Jersey. And so you guys actually got some of the best laws as far as New Jersey, New York, California as far as shipping, right?
Yes.
being able to ship. Florida, I think, just jumped on that because MHW just opened up a warehouse down in Florida, or they partnered. They have now a Florida distribution facility. So tell me, how did you get into the bourbon world? I want to hear all this.
So as I got into my 30s, it's always funny. When I was in my younger 20s, I did the regular shooting the Jack, shooting shots at Jack. Did the JMO with the Irish whiskey when I was in my younger 20s. And I went to a tequila phase when I got into my upper 20s when drinking Patron and all that's when you're going out to the clubs and having a good time. Then I got into my 30s and I'm just like, I don't feel like just shooting everything all the time now and going out to bars and things like that. So I remember one of my good friends goes, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And it was a bottle of Blanton's. And I tried it. I was like, "Damn, this stuff is pretty good." He goes, "Yeah, you put a rocks glass, you throw it in the rocks, and you just slip it neat, whatever you want to do." I'm like, "Sure." And then the first thing I did after that, I shot. I shot it. I shot Blanton's like a fool. And then I'm like, you know what? Next time I do this, let me try this, the proper way I was supposed to do it. Sip on it, enjoy it, and get the notes and tasting. Then I had some friends, introduce me to some makers, and I tried that. I'm like, you know what? Now I feel like I'm older, I'm sophisticated. Then I started learning more about the bourbon category, and I'm just like, whoa, there's so many. Fred, you have tried. You're a veteran in this. You have tried so many. Then you start trying stuff, and then you know what? I'm gonna make my own. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna keep on trying like all these different ones. I reached out to my business partner Brian, and I told him I want to get into the spirits business. And he goes, "Yeah, you and everybody else." And he goes, "You know what? Your story's legit though. You have the story behind it. You have your foundation. It's someone that's in a wheelchair. When people see me having drinks, sometimes they look at me crazy." He goes, "You know what? We're gonna end that stereotype, and we're gonna create our own brand, and we're gonna do it with a bourbon."
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's the biggest thing about bourbon, Fred, is it's the story, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's only a certain number of mash bills.
Yep.
Right? Blending. I firmly believe the blender is more important than the actual master distiller these days. So that's just my opinion. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that think I'm a complete.
Boy.
But no, that can
Jared's
of worms.
bringing it today.
That can of worms. But there's so many great barrels out there right now that have come from great distillers and great master distillers that I think in the world we're in, the ability to take old, new, blend, because like I said, you're not going to create new mash bills that haven't been seen before, but you can create new blends, right? Because now you're talking percentages of this or that, or how you want it to finish and people staving and different char levels just the metrics of that are kind of endless. But that's what I think makes it fun. And then when you have a story, a passion behind it, or in your case, like you said, you're trying to kill a stereotype, right?
Absolutely.
And you had to taste, as Fred calls them, we're tasters, not drinkers anymore, right?
That's right.
And so I think that's super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to get do the tasting. I remember getting the samples. So I have a coffee shop here as well in New Jersey, and I'll never forget getting the samples in. And Brian comes down to my coffee shop, and we're sampling the bourbon in the corner of my coffee shop and seeing which ones we're gonna like during our operating hours. And people walking by like, "Hey, what's that? Like, can we get some of that?" Or like, I'm like, little do you know, you're tasting what our product is about to be. So that was a fun beginning tasting on what we did. But now, yeah, getting those samples that come in because we put out all different, types now. When we had our original, just a launch at 88 proof, 2.5-year-old bourbon to get introduced to the category, and then we dropped, our 104 proof 4-year single barrel. To then we just released a 7-year-old. We did a single barrel of that. We just did 4 proof that we put out. So it's been fun now getting to learn the tastings and the differences and the notes. And we're working with our partners at Green River and Bardstown. It's just been incredible with the Rutgers bottle.
Pete and them very well. I know Pete and those guys.
Those guys are awesome. They really. I got to go down to Bardstown last September and see the whole facility. Man, that place is incredible.
Isn't it? It's a cool spot. It's a cool spot. So we're working with Middle West out of Ohio, but I know Pete and all those guys at Bardstown very well, Dan and all those guys. That's a good facility. I haven't been to the Green River facility. For Fred, I'm sure you spent some time at the Green River facility.
Yeah. Green River is great. So
I love how we're over here. Eric and I are talking like we're the experts.
Yeah.
We got the Bourbon King just quiet in the corner.
Yeah, Fred is ridiculous, man. Yeah, I said Fred my single barrel. I'll never forget. He opened it. He smells. He goes, "Smells like Green River." I was like, "What the fuck?" This is insane. I'll never forget. I was so impressed with that, Fred. That was incredible.
So Eric, Jared is getting into the bourbon business, and like you've been into it for a few years, and he needs he probably could use a mentor, like getting through some of these trying times. So what's some advice you got for Jared right now?
It's so funny, Jared, because people see that, Brian and I running this company and they see the stuff on social media, you see the collaborations, but they don't see the behind the scenes of me literally calling liquor stores and trying to introduce them to the product, that let them know who our distributor is, doing tastings and this and that. Like, it is a hustle. It's a grind, which I love. That's what I'm about. Obviously, being a football player, we're all about that gritty toughness, that grind. And I'm literally, before I got on this phone call, I was calling like local liquor stores around the Rutgers area and just telling them like, "Hey, we have this new product out, the Scarlet Knight series. Like, you guys should be able to bring it in." And obviously, I know when it comes to this bourbon category, I'm not naive. Like 21 now, like these kids are 21 to 25. They're not sipping bourbon like that, so that's not like a target audience I'm going to for the consumer. I'm going for that
Yep.
35 and older crew. So when I
Yep.
look at my social media, where do I get most of the 35 and older? Facebook, LinkedIn,
Yep.
so those
Yep.
are like where I'm targeting most, going after people there. Just because I've learned, like I'm 35 years old, and obviously being from Rutgers, a lot of times that age difference is always going to be 18 to 21. And you got to be 21 years old to drink. That's not my target audience, even though I'm a Rutgers guy. It's going to be those people that followed me from the beginning of my journey along, that are there now, 35 and older, and that's the people I go after. But it's a grind, it's a hustle, but I love this.
But yeah, it's been a fun thing. So we take the stance of like, so I'm not even going after a demographic. I'm going after a psychographic, right? So our whole concept is grit and determination deserves to be celebrated, and it doesn't matter if you're swinging a hammer or you're closing $100 million deals as a CEO, or you just had a hard day at the ranch. I think that I personally believe that the alcohol category is going less to shots. So there's actually a stat that 25% less people are drinking these days,
Uh-huh.
but the premium bourbon, or liquor brands in general are actually holding strong. And I think like Fred told me years ago, right? At some point you transition from a drinker to a taster, right?
Oh,
Where I want to sit down. I don't want to be hungover. I got crap to do, right? Like I don't have time to go out the bar. So I want to sit down, pour me something good at the end of the day, and I'm willing to pay extra for it. And I'm gonna have a drink, maybe two, and I'm going to bed because I got things to do the next day, right? Or my kids just graduated high school, and I've been saving this bottle on the shelf, right? So kind of whatever success, no matter what field you're in, is based on grit and determination. And so that's kind of the approach we take. And then, like you said, I heard you say something about being online. Our launch will be initially only online, direct to consumer, because that'll give me, like, Speakeasy will give me 34 markets versus having to grind in every market and really have marketing dollars go towards those specific deals. And we're a high proof, high dollar. We'll retail it at $99.99
okay.
because we're a blend of an 8 and a 13 year
There you
actually.
go.
And so we will go into that space, just because we're small batch, exclusive by nature. I'm only releasing 5,000 cases year one.
Okay.
And so, our model kind of is going to be more on, I'm not going to make a bunch of excuses, because I'm like, I just want to stay in my space, right?
Yeah.
I want to go out and try to, because it's a love project for me. I want to go out and try to put the best product together and offer it to people and hope you love it. And you know what? If it hits, it hits. I don't need to sell 10,000 cases a month to to make it work. So, but that's what I love about the bourbon space. At least the bourbon space allows flexibility for, like you said, you can target your backyard from a certain demographic for people who have followed you, who have, you're putting a stigma to rest, and people are kind of growing with you in your evolutionary, like you said, you had your 2 year out first, then your 4, now you have a 7 year. Like, so as your bourbon and experiences grows, your following and your customers will grow with you, which is super cool. And we're trying to come in and we're trying to kill the stigma that, you have to be a suit and tie, button up, or only high dollar, net worth people can afford high dollar booze. I remember Coach Vermeil told me one time, he said, "Son, the reason you drink a good glass of booze is so you can get up and go to work in the morning." You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
everybody deserves to have a good taste in their life. I got friends in the country music business, and one of the lines in their song is, life's too short to drink cheap wine. And I think that's kind of how we approach it. But that's what makes it fun, right? So everybody's story is different, everybody's business journey is different. But at the end of the day, you are 100% right. If you're not grinding on anything, you're not going to be successful.
That is true. And we don't have a big team at all. We're doing this bootstrapping it to Brian and I, making sure.
I love it.
We're not having too many.
Well, I'm going to support it. I'm going to go get me some LeGrand bourbon for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We appreciate you, trying it, because it's fun. Like, the journey is about telling storytelling, being able to, share stories over the glass of bourbon. And we got my family and friends involved, when they're coming in, as investors to start the company. So now when we're going out into these different events throughout, the state and whatnot, it's us sharing our story from the time we've known each other since we were 5 years old to where we are now in our lives and our business. And people are like, how did you guys get together? I'm like, well, we've known each other since we were 5 years old, and now we're doing this bourbon, journey together. And people just love to hear that story, and then you get to hear other people's stories and their friends and their businesses. It's just been quite the journey good. And we throw quite a few events, throughout the state, because we're available in New York, New Jersey, Kentucky, and Massachusetts. But we know our bread and butter is New Jersey, and then we have our online store where we can ship, to, like you said, the 34 markets that are allowed to support that.
That's awesome. They say, Dave Pickerel used to always say, like, build your clients base around your community. And I think, Eric, you are such an inspiring person, right? Like, and I think you mean a lot to Rutgers, because they were there, when your injury happened, and they've wanted to support you the entire time. But take us through that moment and what Rutgers has meant to you in this to where you are now.
It's crazy. October 16th will be 15 years since my injury. And this has happened to me on that field at that MetLife Stadium. It had just opened up to the year, I believe, in 2009. So I got injured in 2010. And the Rutgers community rallied around me from the jump. I'll never forget seeing the frat houses putting out signs out the window, like, we believe, and all that type of stuff. And the fan base signing banners, wishing me well, always there for me. From then, fast forward to a few years after my injury, now I'm, trying to navigate what this new life is going to look like. Every event that I ever wanted to do, I remember I wrote a book. My first appearance was at Rutgers, doing a book signing with them, to having my Walk to Believe events that I have with them from my foundation, to now being a proud partner with my Bourbon of Rutgers Athletics, to now doing a collaboration with the university that goes further and beyond just Rutgers Athletics. It's now Rutgers University for the first time. And this school was founded in 1766, and obviously with the birthplace of college football. They've never put, a logo on a spirits bottle. To say Eric LeGrand Kentucky Straight Bourbon is the first company to put that block R on a bottle. We had to go. It was a process, Jared. You were talking earlier about the process that has to go to it, and just being able, the legalities to get that done. It was a process. But I'm so proud to be able to announce that Scarlet Knight series in a 4-year and 92 proof. The little funny thing, I wore number 52, but I actually played 2 games my freshman year at fullback, and they gave me number 46. So that's why we did it with the 92 proof 46 ABV. So that little fun little tidbit that we put in there, fun fact. But it's been amazing to see the response from the university. No matter whatever I do, they're always there, whether it's the coffee, the bourbon, whatever I do, my events. And to see now people are going, flocking to the stores to grab that bottle, all because of that block R on it. They just want to have that, and I think it's pretty cool.
Well, not to mention, 15 years. A lot of people are in something at the beginning, right?
Yep.
But to sustain a relationship, I think that speaks highly of, the leadership at Rutgers, and just how, again, backing you, an individual, for 15 years and everything you've done, obviously highly influential, right? And, you caught national attention once I remember I was in the league, and I remember when it happened still. But, again, you look at just colleges in general, kind of a mess these days, right? And so to hear stories about a university that is just stuck by, a person, a cause, because, a belief system, is pretty cool. Like you said, because so many times everybody's in the beginning, and then, as things go over time, leadership changes or whatever, we're not really in that space anymore. You know how the whole thing goes.
Mhm.
So it's really cool to see that they've stuck by that, because I know you've meant a lot to that community.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ask you though, obviously a horrific injury, and I know as football players, it's kind of it's the risk we assume.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that we're willing to play it, but we assume the risk because it's what we love to do, and we think we're invincible. But I've always wondered, as a man of faith, right? I believe God, things happen to us for certain reasons. So, commend you on the ability to turn a perceived negative into such a positive, right? And such an inspiring story. I always wondered though, like, do you wonder do you wonder if you would have had the same platform without the injury? Like, was your life already on that track, or was this kind of like a divine intervention? Like, hey, I got something greater for you, Eric, and you are going to now affect millions and millions. Again, because I've obviously I know you based on the injury, right? I know you, and it's the first time actually meeting, but I know your story based on the injury, and so I'm curious to get your perspective on that. If you think that you might have had the same impact? Was your life going in the same direction? I mean, was entrepreneurial? Was that always on the forefront of your mind, or did this kind of give you a completely right hand turn and open up a crazy new amount of doors for you?
It definitely is a crazy right hand turn because obviously our goal is always as football players, you get to the league and be able to just try to have a long NFL career, set up your family, this and that. My always goal was to get to the league, retire, become a sports broadcaster. That was my goal from
Okay.
when I was 5 years old. That was my goal. Then this injury happened to me. Complete right turn. Didn't know where my life was obviously going to go. And that led into becoming a motivational speaker, writing a book, doing my sports broadcasting with Rutgers football. And then during COVID time, that's when I was, with my injury, I'm very susceptible to things where it comes to pneumonia. I've been hospitalized with pneumonia 4 times. So obviously I had to be extra precautious when it came to the coronavirus and whatnot because of my lung deficiency now with my injury. So being in a house bored as hell after a while, you're like, what am I going to do? And that's when I started coming up with all these different business ideas. And one was the coffee, and then the bourbon came. And then that launched into what it is now. And just to see become an entrepreneur was never what I thought I would be, but damn, do I love it because it just reminds me of that grind. Obviously, I can't play football anymore. I haven't played in 15 years, but man, the preparation, the hard work just to be able to go out there and play the game for 60 minutes, all that behind the scenes work that you do in the off season, that's kind of like what it's like with the business now. All the hard work, the stuff that people don't see, those late nights, sleepless hours, the people saying no to you, but you still continue to push through and persevere. Then when you finally get that moment when you have that launch and release, that's my game day victories for me, man. The same thing for my recovery.
I love it. Was there ever a moment after the injury? Obviously, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you, but I mean, I'm assuming people go through dark times. We build homes for wounded veterans, and some of the stories we hear from the paralyzed amputees and stuff like that. That when they come home, there's always some dark times, but there's always a moment usually where it's just like I'm gonna continue keeping on, right? And they push through, and it's that mental fortitude. Did you have a defining moment after the injury that you kind of were like, you know what? There's a greater calling here for me, and then obviously, because obviously you grab the bull by the horns, and you've gone full force, and you've been a massive motivation to many people. Was there a specific moment that you can remember where it kind of clicked for you that this was my new calling?
It was when I was laying in the hospital bed after I went to the hospital. I was in there for 3 weeks, and I got pushed to my rehab center where I was going to be doing inpatient rehab, and I got taken out that first night because I had a 105-degree fever. But when I was laying in the hospital bed, I saw a girl. When I finally, they got the infection down, I started to feel better. I saw a girl get rushed by my room going into emergency surgery, and she had a cancerous tumor that started to bleed out. And I remember seeing all these, kids go by, probably 17, 18 years old, mom, dad, grandparents walking by, going down to the waiting room. And then an hour or so went by. There's some people were walking by hysterically crying. And then I could overhear the nurses talking outside, and that girl died on the operating table. And I remember I was hooked up to tubes and everything, but I was like, if I'm still here, still living, I got this opportunity to go forward. I'm going to live my life to the fullest and not let this wheelchair hold me back because I'm sure that girl would have probably did anything to have one more breath, and she died on that operating table that night. When you're laying there at 20 years old in a hospital bed and you see that, it kind of brings a lot of things into perspective, and you're like, you know what? I'm living my life to the fullest because that is such an unfortunate situation. Seeing those kids' faces, the mom, dad, and grandparents hysterically crying because they just lost, 17, 18-year-old kid. That right there said to me, you know what? Not going to let this injury define me. That was that kind of wake up moment where I wasn't going to feel bad for myself because I was still living.
No,
Wow.
that's powerful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, man, you've been, like I said, man, you've been an incredible inspiration. But you've also, just in general, you've been an incredible inspiration. But for the bourbon community, I've felt that you have brought in an entirely new audience, and that is people with disabilities that the industry has never once focused on. Like you have opened the doors, uh, like you said in the beginning, to show that it's okay to have a drink, um, if you're in a wheelchair, and I think that's powerful.
I appreciate that, Fred. And it's so true because immediately you see somebody in a wheelchair, you just assume they have all these different medical complications. They can't do this and you can't do that. And it's just that furthest from the truth. Are there situations that are like that? Absolutely. There's some people that are on medication they're not allowed to, but it's not everybody. And in the spinal cord injury, I have a lot of friends and people I've met who throughout the years, or may not even have met in person, but I've spoken to over the phone or social media that are in the spinal cord injury community who have purchased my bourbon, and they're sending me pictures and stuff of them in wheelchairs enjoying my bourbon. And when I see those, I get those videos of those pictures. Honestly, those are the ones that make me smile the biggest because the
That's
people
awesome.
in my community, the spinal cord injury community, enjoying a glass of bourbon when so many people probably are looking at them like, oh my God, that person's drinking. And I know that exact feeling, which is why we created the company, Erica Grand Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Hey,
That's
here's the
awesome.
thing too, and Jared likes to bring up that I say we're tasters, not drinkers. At no point are we saying drink straight from the bottle. Don't be guzzling this
Yeah.
stuff. We're this is the health world. Lumps us all into like the alcoholism side of things, which is very true. It can be true, but at no point are we advocating for that, and that's where that judgmental eye kind of comes in. And like even now, I have people emailing me all the time because I've really focused on my health in the last few years, and I have people emailing me saying, "Hey, I'm no longer in the bourbon community because like I can't. I'm afraid of like the health implications." So it's a it's a real
Yeah, I
thing
think
out there.
life's a balance, right? I think so many people focus on, like you said, it's on the negative connotation. There's an assumption that you can't do a lot of things because you're in a wheelchair, or there's an assumption you can't do certain things, like you can't be healthy and enjoy a drink, right? There's an assumption that you can't, and it's the same way. Be honest, I grew up more legalistically in faith, right? And then Mark Batterson was a huge, what's the word I'm looking for? He was huge in transforming the way I thought about my own faith, right? Like, he was like, there should be this powerful, I can do this because I'm a Christian, right? I can do it. So you stop focusing on the negativity the world's going to show you. Because I was actually a stigma I used to have, like, if I'm not having a beer and people know that I'm a Christian, like, they're going to judge me, right? Well, the reality is, if I'm good this way and I know what I'm doing, right, I don't really care what other people
Yeah.
think. But so many people want to look at that from the lens of like you said, oh my gosh, he's got to have so many medical. This is so bad. You're like, but you don't know my injury. You maybe come talk to me, right? You want to know my story? Let's have a conversation. And then again, it's like if I'm having one drink and I'm going home, or if I'm tasting it, you know what I mean? So it's like, again, I think so many people view people on the idea of, again, what are these negative connotations are that we shouldn't be doing, when the reality is it's just there's so many blurred lines, and everybody's story is different. And life's about balance, right? Like, again, especially in the alcohol world. That's why I said I think you see brands that are, or people are 25% less of the country's drinking, yet premium brands are holding still because you know people. I mean, yeah, if you're out, like you said, if you're out, taking shots at JD all night, Jameson, you're at the club till 3 a.m. Not the healthiest choice,
Exactly.
right? But
Exactly.
at the same time, again, sitting down after a hard day of work, having a cold one, or having a drink, nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that. And doing these different events, so many times people will come up to me and let me get you a drink now, this and that, because they know I have the burden. I'm not gonna lie, year one was rough. Year one was I was drinking. I was like, yeah, I can't sustain this because everywhere I go, people are like, all right, let's drink this and that. And year one, you're so excited. You're like, all right, let's do it. Year two, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll have a cocktail or two because obviously we work with different bars and restaurants and I'm creating the cocktails. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
one or two of these and then I'll be chilling compared to when I was having, 4, 5, 6 at the end of the night. And next thing you know, I'm like, damn, my stomach hurts now. I do to myself out here and all this.
My liver's, I feel the heartbeat in my liver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I won't, like,
that's the other thing.
when
Everybody's gotta
Jacqueline
know
wants
their
to
own balance, right? And some people, and that's the other thing. I think there's a stigma from people that drink or don't drink. I got friends that quit drinking. I didn't drink for 2 years myself. And at the end of the day, people don't care. Just if someone says, "Oh, I don't drink," I'm like, "Cool." I got friends that don't drink, and I'll drink an NA with them all day. Great. Let's not drink today. You know what I mean? I think, but there's so many people hide in the shadows, and it's like, just be yourself. Like, just it is what it is, right?
Absolutely.
And if you have a problem, please don't drink.
Yeah,
please don't drink if you have a problem. I'm telling you that right now.
And also don't ever get behind the car, man. I can't express that enough. There's no excuse for that. But there's an issue I want to bring up that's happening to the alcohol industry right now. It's kind of under the radar. Not many people are talking about it. And it could happen to both of you since you have brands. Guy Fieri, the famous chef, had 24,000 bottles of tequila stolen. Basically, someone came in and claimed they were a truck driver for a company and just took the whole truck. Westland Distillery had close to $1 million, 12,000 bottles of their award-winning American single malt stolen. There seems to be a kind of a criminal syndicate effort to rip off large truckloads of good alcohol. And
all right, I'm bringing this in because we're going to slowly get into some more conspiracies. We didn't get Eric fully down that road. We did not take him fully down that road. But let me just ask the question: are we sure this just aren't in inside jobs for insurance money?
Oh,
are we sure? I'm just asking questions. Listen, I like Guy. I don't think Guy's in anything nefarious. But if it's becoming a trend around the country, like, where are you offloading all this stolen merchandise? You see what I'm saying? Like, as people in the liquor world, in the spirits world, that logistics and selling this stuff
that's
is
just
tough.
So yeah,
it's
that's
tough
just
to do illegally. So how are you doing it illegally?
I just and I was just in Oklahoma, and I was driving through, and there was this truck parked in just a random parking lot with a sign that said 20 ribeyes for $40. And I'm like, there's no way that dude paid for those. Those are all stolen.
Absolutely.
He stole a cow, butchered it, and that wasn't even a refrigerated truck, Fred.
That's funny you said that, though, Jack. The first thing I said is, one, I hope they got insurance on that product because at least you can get their money back. But two, in the bourbon world, if that happens to you, you're kind of screwed because the aging process. You can't just replenish that like vodka, like make it overnight. And, with dessert, obviously it takes a lot longer to age bourbon and especially some of the tequila expressions as well. It takes time. So one, I hope you got insurance. Two, if that happens in bourbon, you're screwed. But three, like you said, where are they offloading that? Who are they selling that to? And who's getting that product? How they re-getting that money back to people?
Get it for the 1920s, right? You're just taking it to a new speakeasy down the road. You're offloading it, buying crates behind it's a cash-based business.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no cash in this business anymore.
I'm like, I don't know who you selling that to on the side of the road somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Like you can't.
I don't know. I think you could have like pop-up liquor stores, or you could even find liquor stores that would take product.
But wouldn't you be able to trace that? Like, Guy's going to be like, he should be able to trace that because he's going to get his cut based on his wholesale to his distributor. So if all of a sudden you got this liquor store filing, taxes.
Man, I've been to some liquor stores that have the bars up. They don't care.
Selling crates out the back.
Yeah,
Crates out
there's
the
drug
back.
dealers on the front stoop. I've been to places like that,
Oh,
and let me
that's
tell you,
it.
the TTB's not going to those stores. The alcohol beverage control are too afraid to go in there and do an audit. And they're certainly not running their software up the pipeline for distribution,
True, but at some point, like on Instagram, you're going to see a whole bunch of people, in a market that isn't selling Santo tequila, crushing Santo tequila. You're like, well, I know where my truck went now.
I don't want to give a spoiler alert here, but I don't know if any of you guys are watching Tulsa King. Yeah, I'm on
Yes.
season 3. It's all about bourbon now with this whole
Yeah.
Yep.
a 50-year-old. I'm going to spoil alert, so if you're listening, a 50-year-old bourbon that they're now one stole it from the other, then stole it back, and they're trying to figure out instead of
Yeah, the dude lit the first episode. They lit the guy's house on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I know for some 50-year-old bourbon that they had stored away,
Listen.
Let's the deal, Fred.
I gotta get on a soapbox here.
As an Okie, though, be honest. There's no good bourbon being made in
No!
Oklahoma.
and there's no such thing as 50-year-old bourbon. Like the oldest bourbon ever released was 47 years old, and it was like that much, and they had to finish it in like several things, and it tasted like licking the roots of a rotten tree. It was disgusting. And they talked about how many cases they had from per or how many bottles they got out of a barrel, and they were like, it was 150 or something. I was just like, it drove me crazy. I put a tweet out about it. So
yeah, now I'm about to say 50 years old. There's gonna be a lot of what do you call it? The angel dust that gets to that.
Angel share, yeah.
That's gonna be splinters. At 50-year-old, you're just sucking on wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about this 150 million.
They should have just taken the barrel and sold 50-year-old bourbon toothpicks. You know what I mean? That would have been a better marketing ploy.
Yes.
But also, no one's gonna be buying Oklahoma bourbon. It's just not like that anyway.
What was anytime there's always some bourbon that comes out. I'm like, I want to like this. Speaking of, hold on, Fred, we got to go back to our very first episode.
Radioactive shrimp?
No.
Beaver butt juice.
Beaver bourbon, beaver butt bourbon. Is Eric familiar with this?
I am not familiar with beaver.
Educate him.
All right.
Educate him.
So Eric, there is inside the beaver butt.
Oh hell!
There is a sac that is apparently very flavorful, and flavor houses.
Gland. Is it the adrenal gland?
It's the castor
gland. Sorry,
yeah, something like that.
Wrong.
So these flavor houses are extracting this beaver butt juice and putting it into whiskey, and it come to find out, it's actually in a lot of products that we enjoy. You can find them in some candy bars.
I got questions on how
I don't eat candy bars. I don't take vitamins. So
how do you find that even out? Like, how do you find out the capsules in the
exactly, Eric? You have to request that. The manufacturer had to request that. Can I get some beaver butt juice? Like what? No. Can I get some castral gland or what? Castor gland juice.
At some point, there was a hunter or a trapper who is like, yeah, I'm going to cut this up here and eat every bit of it here. And we got this is a nice sack of something juicy. Let me put that in my ribeye. Oh, my gosh, that's good.
Oh.
That's how that happened.
He was chewing on a little leather or something that got on his hat, got wet. He was like, that's got a funk to it. That's delicious. Put that on some jerky.
Yes, that's how you find out. Yeah, you get somebody like that, they'll eat the whole damn thing, and they're like,
Yeah, but the fact that there's enough creepy people out there going out there and buying stuff that it's advertised like castor gland and knowing where the castor gland is of the beaver's anal sac, like, come on, dude. Again. Just, now we get to educate you, Eric.
Yeah, I definitely learned something new today. That's insane.
That's
what I said before. Just don't tell me about it. If I don't know, I don't know. If I'm drinking,
no, it's an advertising ploy. They love it, and they're selling it out in Texas.
Well, you're
Texas are drinking drinking beaver juice like it's going out of style.
I mean, it's straight. You're basically mainlining beaver anal glands. That's what's happening here, and that's
Lord have.
And trust me, I read my label on my beaver fella hat. There's no castrum on my hat.
Yeah.
So, switching topics a little bit, bit more shakeup in college football. Penn State fired James Franklin.
Wow.
Yeah.
And James Franklin, guess where he, he originated a lot of places, but he has ties to Idaho State University. Big Sky. He was actually our receivers coach when I was coming in. He left in 2000, right when I was coming into Idaho State. But when I was getting recruited there, he was our receivers coach.
So he joins Mike Gundy as the mid-season firings.
Yeah, I mean,
shocker.
Yeah, $50 million right there. So obviously, I'm very close to Penn State. A lot of New Jersey people at them going to Penn State. Penn State has its own cult. They're one of the, like, everyone. You only like Penn State if you go there. Everyone else hates you if you're at Penn State. They embrace that. And I'll tell you,
they love to tell you how much Penn State, how awesome Penn State.
how awesome it is. But I hear it all the damn time, believe me. Like, but the proximity between Rutgers and there, I can't stand it. But
$50 million? Like, you're gonna pay someone $50 million to leave?
To not have to ever work. Like, if I'm James Franklin, I'm getting my family. I'm like, let's go to Bourbon somewhere far. We're disappearing for a month. And catching up on all sleep, because you know how those coaches, they don't sleep and all that. Just getting away, because those 3 losses, I get it. This was supposed to be their claim to fame national championship year. And then they lose 3 in a row, Oregon, and then you lose on the road at UCLA and then Northwestern. Then obviously the trade just came off the tracks. It is what it is. But $15 million to not work? Oh,
I need to fail like that. How do I fail like that? It's like the WeWorks guy. SoftBank gave him like $800 million to go bankrupt. Come on, let's just bankrupt. Hey, Fred, can we find someone to pay us $50 million to bankrupt this show?
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Donors line up to pay that money to not work.
It's a beaver butt company, though.
Yeah. So. Hey, listen, Castrum it is.
Isn't there a stadium?
4th and Beaver Butt.
Is it Beaver Stadium? Is it something like that?
Yeah.
Dude, they should be selling that. They should be selling that juice down there in that Oregon State.
Right? Yeah.
Right? Man,
I think they're too busy wanting to have the weed, though.
That's the new Wild West right there.
They need the ganja.
The new Wild West. I just don't understand how bad. Like, hey, Coach Franklin, you've been crushing it for 15 years for us, right? You have no leeway. Like, there's like, and then I saw the statement. He said, like, from looking at where we've been, where we're at, and where we want to go. So he basically said they are on a downhill slide as a program. But doesn't the athletic director have to own some of that?
Yeah.
How is that all Coach Franklin's fault? I don't know. I'm just saying, if I'm paying someone $50 million to not show up, there's more than just 3 losses.
And that goes to show you, too, how the donors run the university. Donors run it. If the donors aren't happy, I'll pull out my money back if you don't fire them. Well, okay, he's fired then. You know what I mean? Like, that's how crazy it is. If the donors aren't happy and they're not happy with what they're saying, they'll say, I'll pay them.
It's also
my
like
motto. I would go in, get a massive contract, guaranteed, obviously, with a massive buyout, and that would just tank, just so they have to fire me and buy me out. Like,
well, then I think there's probably a clause for fraud in there, Jared. You're probably
not doing anything. Okay, then I'll have my liquor stolen.
Boy. So here's the thing about this is that what this brought to light to me is like all of these universities have complained that they don't have a budget or whatever. And I'm like, that's BS. If you can buy out, Franklin or whatever coach, even if it's just $1 million, $2 million, then they've got the money,
Of course they got the money. I mean, they probably have a $2 billion endowment. I don't even know what they're endowed. Penn State's got, all these universities got a massive endowment.
Money out there beyond it.
And not to mention the amount of money coming in via, television deals to the NCAA. Your NIL money is stupid, obviously, at these bigger universities, too. That's another thing. They got to start making these kids and coaches, for that matter, sign meaningful contracts, right? Like the idea, this whole, like, everybody goes to the transfer portal after every year so they get more money. Like, I'm all for them making money because I do think the university exploits the coaches and the players. But they got to put some reins on this. There's got to be some commitment because sports is about being accountable to others. Team sports is about humbling yourself to be accountable to others, right? And obviously, there's always superstars and within the team, but at the end of the day, it's still a team sport, and those are the fundamentals that it's based on. But it starts with the coaches because these coaches are bailing out. They're using schools as a one stop here to get somewhere else, or I've lost here, so now I'm going to get paid tons of money to go here. And they're bailing on kids. So what example are they setting? So, I actually don't mind, the fact. I mean, it's in this sense that it works well. Like if the university wants to move on from Coach Franklin, they got to pay him a bunch of money, right? That was his leverage to have job security, right? But at the same time, I think the college football program, they need to fix how this works. But goodness, to not give a guy any leniency after the amount of wins he's put up, I get it. 3 bad games is no good, right? But I mean, are you really going to find a better coach than Coach Franklin to come in there? Because you're going to have to poach somebody away from another team. You're probably going to have to pay another buyout. So we're going to be $100 million into a national championship worth $100 million. Probably is.
They're willing to pay it. That's the thing with Penn State. They're like, whoever, they're like, we got the money, we got the resources. We're going to get whoever we want on our next go around, which is absolutely insane to me. Just
question is, where does Coach Franklin go?
Oklahoma State.
If I'm Coach Franklin,
or
I'm going to the beach. I'm going to the
yes. Well, that's what I was going to say. But look. Think about the universities that can go out there and pay whatever they want. If I'm Lincoln Riley at USC, I'm a little nervous right now.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Coach. We got a better option at hand here.
Yeah.
Coach Franklin, come on over to the beach.
I'm with you on that one.
What's that?
I'm with you with Lincoln Riley. He should be on alert.
Well, I mean, I think about it because where'd he came from? He came from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Didn't do that much there, to be honest. Jump ship there, he goes to USC, and they're the same team. That's why I don't understand why they keep paying these same coaches that are mediocre.
I think his thing is his branding is like tied to all the quarterbacks. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah,
whatever you want to say.
What are they doing in the league, though?
Well, Baker Mayfield, is crushing it.
Baker's had a resurgence, but Baker came in and got thrashed. So Baker, whoever has taught Baker how to play quarterback recently, and I think Stefanski and the Browns had a lot to do with that. To be honest with you, I think Stefanski's a heck of a coach. But Baker's playing his lights out. I love seeing the resurgence he's had because it's fun to watch that energy and that passion at that position. But he's just and the truth of the matter is he's a better quarterback now. He is absolutely a better quarterback. So but yeah, other than that, what SC quarterback has come? Caleb Williams is playing well.
Caleb Williams. I was thinking about some of the Oklahoma ones.
About
was he there with Jalen Hurts then too? But Jalen Hurts came from Bama, so yeah, okay, I'll give him some credit. I'll give him some credit on that. But that still isn't equating to national championships or even your playoff appearances for SC, and that's kind of a staple college, right?
Well,
everybody should be on alert. If Coach James Franklin, Rich Franklin, here I went to the UFC. See, I went UFC, Fred. But if James Franklin can get fired, everybody's job is on the line right now. That was like when Peyton Manning left the Colts. Everybody knew they could get cut. There was not a person in the NFL that thought they were safe at that time. Everybody's like, well, if Peyton can go, we are all expendable.
Well, Rutgers is 3-3. They're 3-1 at home. That's actually probably not bad for Rutgers.
Not bad. Here we go. Not bad. Right. See, listen. We had 3 losses in a row. That's for sure. It's been definitely a tough goal right now. We have Oregon coming in after a big loss that they just lost to Indiana at home. So yeah, they'll probably be a little bit pissed off. But I'm always on the guy of why not us? Let's see if we can pull that upset off after. Obviously, 3 losses played in the Big Ten is definitely tough. That's what you want, though. You want to play those Ohio States, the Oregons of the world, the States. That's what you want. But yeah, it started off 3-0, and then it lost 3 in a row. 3 Big Ten games, close games. And
you guys didn't fire your coach. See, a little thing called loyalty.
Rutgers, we're not paying $20 million to fire somebody at Rutgers.
Well, they're going to be, now that you're in the fold, you're sending money their way. They're going to be like, oh, hey, Eric.
Yeah, he's going to get tapped. He's going to get tapped for that buyout. Hey,
Coach Shiano's there at me, man. Coach
hey, Eric, how many cases do we have to sell to get Coach Franklin here?
Yeah, that's like Shiano's the coach, man. he's one of those guys like Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. Like there's just people that are staples to their. I was about to say used to be Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, just staples to the school. And I'd hate to see anything happen to Greg at Rutgers.
No, Greg Cochiano, obviously, it goes way beyond just football with him and I and what he's meant to me in my life and what he's done for me and my family and obviously my injury. But what he's doing with that program for what the little that he has, we have a new athletic director coming in with Kelly Zinn and also President Tate, who's coming from LSU, where they know all about the NIL and raising money and stuff down there. I can't wait to see now what the future is of stuff. They've just been talking about their Rutgers NIL program that they just launched because of Kelly Zinn and President Tate putting the effort forward. So we're in a new world of college football, and Coach Yano's going to take those young boys, turn them into men, and when he starts getting better talent, because you have to pay for that talent, can't wait to see where the program is going to go.
Love it.
Yep.
And the wrestling team at Rutgers is
Oh
solid.
yeah, we're always solid. I mean, we're always the top
Yep.
25 team when it comes to wrestling. We got some war daddies up here that definitely
Yeah.
that
Good
They
heavyweight.
embrace the singlet, Fred. They embrace the singlet.
Oh yeah,
Embrace the singlet. But man, this has been a real pleasure having you on, Eric. I know Jared was really excited about having you on. I had no idea that the show's launching on your 15th anniversary of the injury. I had no idea.
crazy, right? But
it's one of those things where I've always admired you. We've become, I guess, Instagram friends. You DM all the time. But I'm proud of what you've done and what you're doing in the bourbon space. And, it's going to sound weird, but Jared, he's made me a Rutgers fan.
How about so? We got to get you up.
It's not weird.
We got to one.
You're an Eric LeGrand fan, so therefore you're a fan of what he's a fan of.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm with you.
I know you're a wrestling guy too over there, Fred. So we get you a football game, but we got to get you to a wrestling match.
Yeah, I would love to come to a duel there.
We gotta get you there. We got the big dogs that come in and play us too. So
I think Iowa comes to Rutgers this year. I might go to that.
That's
one.
We gotta get you in the house for that one, Fred.
Yeah, I don't like Iowa.
You don't like anybody that's not Okie. Okie State or bust. That's all it is. It's Okie State or bust.
Yeah, I appreciate
Eric, honestly, you are such an inspiration. Like I said, I know our paths have never crossed, but I think everybody in the athletic world, especially, and especially football world, we all saw it, what happened that day, and it was one of those constant reminders of the what can happen in our sport, right? But I think how you've handled it with such grace, humility, and just confidence. I think that's what I see the most out of you is your confident demeanor, and you're so secure with who you are, where you're at. And I think what you said earlier, that you were not going to let this injury define you. I think a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that about things that happen in their life, but they don't have the mental fortitude or the willpower to push through. And you have, and you've actually, like I said, you turned a perceived negative into such a positive and such a fruitful life, fruitful career in so many different aspects, that it really is cool. It's really inspiring. And I, again, I hope more and more people get a chance to meet you and be influenced by you, because we need more of you in this world, especially in a world where everybody wants everything, for free right now, right? It's instant gratification. I think you are the poster child for what hard work, dedication, and mental fortitude is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, it means a lot to me. And yeah, man, just living this life to the fullest. And guys, keep on drinking some Eric LeGrand Kentucky Straight Bourbon and Jared Allen. I am picking you up on my first Cowboy hat. I need it.
Yes. All right. Give me your hat size and boot size, and we'll get you taken care of.
I will make sure I get you that information.
Let's do it. Well, everyone, make sure you go follow Eric LeGrand on Instagram. Check out his bourbon page on Facebook and Instagram as well. It's a good follow because he does drop stuff all the time. And if you're a Rutgers fan and you're not following him, I really question whether or not you're a Rutgers fan.
They're not fans then. They're not fans.
Yeah, not a fan if you're not.
Eric, next week we talk about aliens. So tune in. We're talking about aliens.
When I showed up at my door, so I'll tune in as long as I don't got to talk about it. All right, guys.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming on, Eric. And this has been another episode of Fourth and Neat. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tell a friend. And go check out Eric LeGrand's Bourbon. Cheers, y'all.